The U.S. Army Special Forces, when they move into an austere environment, they have an ingress plan and an egress plan. Basically, they've got a plan for moving into the area and a plan in case crap hits the fan to move out. Stick with me, we'll talk about this. So the ingress plan is going to have something like a PACE plan. It's a primary, alternative, contingent, and emergency communications. They're also going to have cache points. Some people call it a cache. It's a cache point. So a cache point is basically a stash. The Taliban will do stuff like this. They'll do an attack. They'll run back to their stash, and then they'll shoot up the ammunition that's there and run back to another stash. What can we learn from this? That's the most important question to ask. If we run into some sort of an urban problem, or if crap hits the fan, or the end of the world as we knew it happens, we've got to have some sort of a plan, especially if we're moving from point A to point B. One way to implement these guidelines or these ideas is to take the central location where you live, go north, south, east, and west, find a friend. At that friend's house, put some sort of a cache point. Some sort of a box, something that's waterproof, that's sealed, that's got some sort of a desiccant inside of it that can stay. Put fuel, put cash, put bullets, whatever it is that you want to save. And if you have this in all four directions, and you find yourself trying to get home or find yourself trying to get out, whether or not it's an EMP happens or a nuke happens in the north and now you're headed south, or you're coming from the south, headed north to go back to your home. You've got a waypoint, you've got a location, you've got a place that you can go to stock up on whatever that you might need. Whether it's an extra 5 to 25 or whatever gallons of fuel, whether it's ammunition, whether it's food, whether it's medical supplies, batteries, whatever it is. And if you can pick something at the four corners of the compass and put some sort of a cache point, now you have options so that you can leave in any cardinal direction or return to your home point in any cardinal direction. Maybe you've got a bug out location at a friend's house. Maybe you've got extra land somewhere. Pick a halfway point or a one-day walking point and stash something there. So with that in mind, we're going to talk about how to stash a cache. The easiest way to do this is ammo cans. Now, I've had people reach out to me, and I've tried this a couple different times, and a combination of the feedback that I've got from friends and the stuff that I've learned the hard way is basically this. If you're in a wet environment, you've got to dry out the air inside of the cache before you put it away. You're going to have a buildup of condensation. Essentially, when the temperature changes inside the box, the wet sticks to the walls. That's a problem when it comes to anything that you stick in there that needs to stay dry. So if you can load it up in the middle of the summer and close it off and seal it, put some sort of a desiccant. If you don't have desiccant, put some sort of an open lid of dry rice, whatever it is that you can do that will absorb the water so that it doesn't destroy the contents of the material. Or stick some sort of a vacuum packed material inside of your bags, whatever it is. What really matters is that you're drying out the air with the understanding that when you put it underground, it's going to get colder, and whatever humidity is in that box is going to come out, stick to the walls, and make stuff soupy on the inside, and that's a problem. The reason that I like ammo cans is they come with a rubber seal on this, and I've personally shot Vietnam-era ammunition out of ammo cans, so they work. Not always, but for the most part, they work. They're a metal can that's sealed. No matter the ammo can, inside of the lid, there's going to have some kind of rubber gasket right here. And if that gasket is removed, it's not going to work. So make sure that it has the rubber gasket. Make sure that it's not rusty. You can spray these cans. There's a couple different reasons why you would want to do that, and I'll talk about in a minute. But an ammo can is a great way to store stuff. One of the reasons you would spray paint something like I've spray painted these is because you don't want sunlight to take it, or you want it to blend in with snow. And I use this can specifically when I go rafting for the purposes of keeping stuff dry, because it's still a dry can. And I sprayed it white because you don't want to lean your arm on a brown can. It absorbs all the heat and it will burn you. But otherwise, it's just a normal ammo can on the inside. So with this in mind, you don't always have to bury it. If you're going to bury it, great. You don't need to bury it very deep because you're going to have to access it quickly. And when it comes to burying it, get a tarp or something, dig a hole, put the dirt on the tarp, put your can in the hole, put enough dirt in so that it's not going to sink, and then put your sod back on top. Or throw a bunch of sticks or leaves or something, or put some sort of garbage or pallet or whatever over the top of it. Then take that dirt elsewhere and throw it away. That way, the displaced dirt isn't creating a mound. It doesn't look like something that someone wants to experiment with or check into, and it keeps people away. Another thing you can do is you can add mothballs to it. It helps to mask the scent of anything that might be in it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it just overwhelms the scent glands of trash pandas or bear or whatever it is that are coming to mess with your food and your stash. Another thing you can do is you can leave it on top of the ground in an area where it's remote enough that it's not going to be messed with. Stick it inside of a bush, stick it in some sort of foliage. Especially when I have a white can like this and I'm only going to leave it seasonally. So if I stick this in the fall up inside a pile of leaves and I know where the location is, maybe I stick it right against the edge of a tree so that come the middle of the winter, if I need to access it, I just grab right down to the bottom of the snow and it's sitting right there on top. I can access it really quickly. So you only bury stuff if you're worried about someone coming up and seeing it and bumping into it, or to make it a little harder to access. You can chain things down. I have worked with outfitters that have left a taco, a tarp taco in the backcountry over the entire season. And the benefit to that is if you're coming in and going out on a regular and you need quick access to it, maybe it's a tent or something that doesn't smell that a bear or something would tear apart, you basically wrap it up in a tarp taco and then roll the taco over so it's just slick on the top. Slide that puppy underneath a bush, slide it under a tree or something. Maybe wrap a ratchet around the outside of it to hold it tight. And then if you really get worried about it being taken, you probably shouldn't be sticking your cash there. Again, the takeaway from this is have a plan, and the best way to do this is to plan against a specific incident. Take the worst case scenario in your area, maybe an EMP or a nuke that is man-made, and then take the worst case scenario that is nature-made. Maybe down south that might be a hurricane or a tornado. Maybe up here it might be an earthquake. Whatever it is, tailor your solution to the problem. So identify the problem. What's the worst case scenario? How do I plan against that? Then identify the solution by having your cache locations in places that only you know that some homeless person isn't going to bump into, some animal isn't going to ravage. Just find a place that you can store your stuff. All right, guys, hopefully that is valuable to you. Leave your comments and concerns. And as the snow kind of disappears, I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I've done. I've got locations where I leave stuff year round. Usually I make that taco, tarp taco, throw underneath the tree. And one of the reasons being is in the area that I frequent, there's rocks a few inches underneath the ground, and you can't really dig a hole. So you've got to be able to be some kind of creative. And ultimately, out of sight, out of mind. And if it has to be in sight, make it look like garbage. For the most part, people will leave that stuff alone. All right, thanks for watching.
Become a Survival Dispatch Insider. We bring together survival enthusiasts and preppers to share knowledge and skills, which means you can enhance your preparedness for emergencies and ensure the safety of your community. The results you'll get: improve your emergency preparedness by learning skills and strategies from experienced preppers. Build lasting connections with like-minded individuals to share your passion for safety and readiness. Access a wealth of knowledge and resources to assist you in protecting you and your community in certain situations. Go to survivaldispatch.com to get started.
I'm Jason Salyer with Survival Dispatch, and when disaster strikes, will you be ready? Power outages, natural disasters, economic collapse, and the knowledge, the skills, and equipment necessary to protect your family when it really, really matters. You can gain instant access to our team of survival experts, stockpiling food, medical necessities, communication plans, proven techniques to help you get home, shelter in place, or bug out safely. Don't leave your family's safety to chance. Visit survivaldispatch.com to get started.